NC State basketball welcomes the Dirty Foot crew to PNC Arena tonight, one of the most anticipated basketball games of the year. But first, we're going to Hollywood.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Wolfpack Nation? It's time to get locked in with Locked On. Thanks for making Locked On Wolfpack your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions apply. Happy Wednesday to all. As always, I'm Grayson Boone, joined by former Wolfpack defensive tackle Kenton Gibbs. We do host UNC tonight in PNC Arena, big-time ACC basketball matchup, but couldn't miss the opportunity to officially welcome Daylan Hollywood Smothers to Raleighwood. This is probably one of my favorite additions so far this offseason. An electric running back joining us from Oklahoma. 4 years of eligibility as he was able to redshirt this year. I think that's a massive selling point in this edition as well. Kenton, give me your initial reactions to officially welcoming Hollywood to Raleighwood.
You know, our running back room just got a lot better in no time, right? And this is with all due respect to the previous guys we had here. You add a Jordan Waters, a proven and experienced every down back, can catch the ball out the backfield, runs powerfully, runs with good contact balance, has good burst to him, and then you add Hollywood Smothers. You add a dynamic change of pace guy, a true home run threat, a guy that if he gets the ball in his hands and he's even with you, he's leaving you. It's been Katie Dids at the doorstep, good night down the road for a long flight, strike up the band because old Moo Yu has gotten into the end zone if you see Hollywood Smothers with the ball. But very seriously, I think that he's a big-time get. And obviously, you know the relationship with KC and all that good stuff, being high school teammates and all that. But I think that this is a larger movement to build the fence around the state of North Carolina. Keep the best guys from the state of North Carolina in the state of North Carolina, because you look at how not only have the best guys from the state of North Carolina going on to be good at other places, going on to be impact players, they've gone on to be captains. They've gone on to get drafted in the first round. They've gone on to do incredible things a la Dexter Lawrence, Jordan Davis, etc. That, if you can keep those guys in state, imagine what your team looks like all of a sudden. You can keep them in the red and white. Imagine what your team looks like.
Right. And this is something we've been discussing, through this entire transfer portal process, in that you can really tell that there has been a movement to bring home these guys that had NC State in their final 4 or 5, ultimately chose to go somewhere else. But this time around, you're getting them to come back home. And listening to Smothers on the Zoom call for Inside Pack Sports, they were kind of asking him, what was the decision like to come back home to NC State? And he was fired up about it. He said, I had to learn my lesson going far away from home. And ultimately, I discovered for myself that home is where I need to be. And so he's fired up to come back to the state of North Carolina. We are fired up to get him back here as well. And like you mentioned, the running back room changed quick, fast, and in a hurry. I almost liken it to, you've been riding around your first car that you had. Maybe it was a hand-me-down car from your family. It gets the job done. It's nothing flashy, but it's serviceable. And now you move up to your next car after you had a big boy job for a little while. You got a little jingle in your pocket. You can afford to put more horses underneath of the hood. It feels like we got that. And not just Smothers, but like you mentioned, Jordan Waters as well. No disrespect to Jordan Houston, Michael Allen, and Delbert Mims. But objectively speaking here, these are massive upgrades at the running back position. And you insert them into what has already looked to be like in a very exciting offense. Yet another horse in this stable for Hollywood Smothers, dynamite for Robert and I.
Yeah, I look at this offense and I think that there are so many dynamic playmakers. You run into the exact opposite of what we had last year. Last year was, how many ways can we get Casey the ball? How can we still get creative while getting him the ball? This year, you're going to have the problem of there's so many playmakers, only one ball to get to everybody. You know, you've got to get Jolie involved. You've got to get Noah Rogers involved. You've got to get Juice Vereen involved. You've got to get Smothers. You've got to get Waters. You've got to get Collins. It's just so many different guys, right? And the hope is that all these guys are understanding we'll get the ball in due time when it's time to do what we do. And in the meantime, in between time, let me do the best I can to block for my teammates. Let me do the best I can to be the best teammate that I can be. Let me do all of the little things right that go in between the times I touch the ball. And you know, obviously I'm counting on these guys to do little things right when it's their turn, because we saw this year in multiple moments where if a guy doesn't do his job, if there's a bubble screen and one of the receivers on the outside doesn't block, that could easily get intercepted. That can easily be that slot receiver getting lit up. You know, so it's about all of these guys understanding that immense talent all over the place, immense talent everywhere. You'll get the ball in due time, do what the team needs to win, and you'll get yours. Winners go to the league. When's the last time we saw a national championship team that didn't have multiple first rounders?
Right.
That's the reality.
Yeah, it's a perfect segue into my next point here. And now you officially named Smothers to the team. You have Jordan Waters. It looks to me, because you have a very deep running back room all of a sudden with the incoming freshmen as well, you're probably going to have 2 to 3 guys that are buy-in guys. And what I mean by that, there's only so much football to go around to all of these new weapons here. So you look at a guy like a Duke Scott. You know, I found it interesting that Coach Dorn was so adamant that Duke Scott could have played this year, and they're very impressed with the talent he brings now. How much can we see Duke Scott here when you presumably have a Hollywood Smothers and a Jordan Waters ahead of him? I don't know. That's something they're going to have to figure out over the course of this year.
And the Kendrick Raphael as well.
Kendrick Raphael is another interesting one here. Had to play a lot this year out of necessity, of course. But what does this look like now for him? Could he be a buy-in guy? Maybe he redshirts this year because he didn't as a freshman. Who knows? But the bottom line is you have to get as much talent on one team as you can possibly get. And then you have that talent rise to the top. And ultimately, those are your playmakers. Those are your starters. Those are your game changers. Those types of moves are what changes the dynamic of NC State football. And our guy, Andy, had a fantastic comment on our Tuesday show, kind of related to this. We'll touch on it more on Friday. When you bring in highly touted guy after highly touted guy, and you have so many guys in one room, and they challenge each other and they bring out the best in each other, over time, that is how you continue to raise the floor of this program. You bring all the talent, all the cream of the crop, you get them in here, you develop them, and then you'll see higher results off of what we've already been getting. You know, NC State's program has been built on player development through Thunder and through the assistant coaching staff, and they've been getting so much out of these 3-star guys. And that's something you can hang your hat on. But once you start getting a Smothers or a Noah Rogers or a Jordan Waters, then you start to take off with this thing. That's when you hear those horses under the hood a little bit. You hear them.
Yeah, your engine starts to roar instead of doing a little. You start to get a little roaring going on in that engine. It starts to sound like a monster coming down the block. But absolutely, that's the goal for this team. You know, we talk about the defense ad nauseum, and rightfully so, because Tony Gibson is one of the best in the business. He's the class of the conference. He is all the things that he is. And you talk about how well he's performed with whatever he's put out there defensively. And now you're looking at the offense and going, all right, we got you what you needed. We got you the Larrys and the Joes. Time to do your X's and your O's and get us some wins.
Big time addition for NC State. Excited to welcome Daylan Hollywood Smothers to the pack. It looks like the tides are really going to be turning here, expecting a whole lot of offense this year. Some strong defense as well, but this offense may be something like we've never seen here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Up next, now we have to get into the UNC basketball game tonight. It's in PNC Arena, 8 p.m. We got the keys after a quick word from our sponsors. Our first sponsor of the day is LinkedIn. At the start of the new year, every small business owner is asking themselves the same question. What's the one move I can make that'll take my business to the next level in 2024. LinkedIn Jobs knows that your success depends on the team that you surround yourself with. That's why LinkedIn Jobs has created the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. They have a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. Hiring is easier when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within just 24 hours. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs number 1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn also knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats that they might not have the time or resources to hire. So thankfully with LinkedIn, the process is intuitive, quick, and easy. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, here we are. The first of 2 UNC matchups in basketball is tonight. Mentioned it on Monday. Feels like this kind of snuck up on everybody. We're so wrapped up in football season all the way through the bowl and then more with the portal recruiting. All of a sudden, we're taking on the Tar Heels this Wednesday night, and we got to find a way to beat these guys because we're both 3-0 in the ACC. Kenton, do you have some keys for us?
Absolutely. Give me my darn theme music. You know, in the words of 50 Cent, I really don't like those guys. This is crazy. I really don't like those guys. And so normally we don't do keys for basketball game, but I'm bringing you 4 keys to beating the Dirty Foot Club. First thing first, we have got to shoot lights out. We've already talked about the fact that for whatever reason, there never seems to be a favorable whistle for NC State here in terms of playing against the boys in baby blue. So you've got to find ways to generate offense where it's very apparent if you're being, if they're giving you the business per se, which starts with shooting lights out from deep. I mean, and here's the deal, right? I know some people say 40% isn't really that high. And, this is a 1-game sample size. You can push it up to 50. But if you shoot 40% plus from deep with 10 plus threes made, I think that puts you in really, really good territory to beat this team. This is a team that wants to slow it down, play a grit and grind half-court game. If you want a shot, you have to make it high scoring. You have to make it up pace and all that good stuff. And knocking down threes to kind of create space for your guys down low is a big part of that.
For reference, against UVA, we just hit 10 threes and we shot 35% from 3. So it certainly can be done tonight against UNC.
Next key. Jaden, go out there and earn your depoy now. If you think you're the guy, come on. Show and prove. Show and prove. If you hold Baycott and Davis to under 30 points combined, you're putting yourself in a great situation to win this ball game. You're putting yourself in an immaculate situation to win this ball. Do you think that Cormac Ryan can beat you? Are you scared of Cormac Ryan? With all due respect, only Duke brings out a hated non-naysayer that's going to win them ball games here and there, okay? That's Duke's kid. That's not who this team is, all right? So hold Baycott and Davis under 30. You'll be just fine. The third key, score at least 75 points. UNC is 1-3 when their opponents do so. Tennessee was the only game they won when allowing over 75. The reality is simple. They want to play a grit and grind game. They want to play a slow-paced game. This is not a fast break team. This is much more of a half-court, get it done in that way team. You've got to be able to speed them up. You've got to be able to make them uncomfortable. You've got to make Baycott run the floor again and again and again and again. We have a plethora of bigs. We talk about the depth with this team. Well, you know what depth allows you to do? Run. Soon as that ball comes out the net, run immediately. And so I think that'll be, score at least 75, keep this thing up tempo. You'll be just fine there. Last but not least, +5 in assist to turnover ratio. Fun fact, we have not lost a single game this year when we are +5 in the assist to turnover ratio. Taking care of the ball and distributing the ball, very important. Very important. We talk about O'Connell being a really good pure point guard, but we need everybody to share the ball, make good decisions with the ball, take good shots, and knock down those shots when you're open. So +5 in assist to turnover ratio is something we need to see. Any thoughts, Grayson?
My main two focus points are kind of a combination of key number 2 and key number 3 here. In key number 2, we talked about Jaden Taylor talking that talk ahead of seeing RJ Davis here Wednesday evening. He wants that depoy. Here's your audition for that ACC depoy. My point here is you cannot allow RJ Davis to beat you. Now, of course, he's going to get his in some kind of capacity. He has been their best player so far this season. He's on a bit of a heater right now. He gets to the line. He can hit the outside shot. He can tend to create for others as well. He's a little bit of a do-it-all threat. And so if Jaden Taylor can really clamp down on RJ, they're going to need someone else to step up a bit, whether that's Cormac Ryan, Harrison Ingram, maybe the freshman in Cadeau. They're going to need to have somebody else take the reins here. And if that situation happens, I think that's big-time advantage State. I would go as far as to say that Jaden Taylor provides a mismatch for RJ Davis because Jaden Taylor is going to be all up in his grill mix. And if RJ Davis cannot find a way around that, UNC is going to be in trouble in this game. And so you cannot allow RJ Davis to beat you. And then the other combo point of this third key, use your depth. It's these types of games that you want to be incredibly deep for. This is where our roster is supposed to win us a ball game like this one. And the inverse of this, I don't feel like Carolina is that deep this year. I think they're about 7 to 8 reliably deep. We have, 10 to 11 guys that can play at any given point in the game here. Yeah. You got to use that to your advantage. You kind of want to turn this into a track meet. You want to have fresh legs on the floor. You want to get out and run, get down the floor in transition, make them sweat, make them run around all night long because you got to wear them out with the amount of depth we have. It kind of reminds me of the second half of the home game last year that we played UNC. That's what you saw. We were aggressive, running down the floor, hitting shots. Of course, everything's better when you hit shots, but if you can really get down the floor and be efficient and effective, Carolina's going to get in trouble if you're able to do those things. And so those are my main takeaways for this big one tonight in PNC.
You have to make this team run. You have to make this team run. If you're playing against a team that has a short, limited rotation, good. Love that. Love that for you all. Let's see how well your stars can do this thing when they're, when you're in minute 25 of us just go nonstop.
Up next, we're going to give our final thoughts and predictions for this showdown with UNC tonight after a quick word from our sponsor. Our second sponsor of the day is FanDuel. The NFL season is now wrapped up and NFL wildcard weekend is on the way. So there is still plenty of time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's number one sports book. Right now, new customers can get $150 back in bonus bets guaranteed when you place just a $5 bet. That's $150 back in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is super easy to use, and there's a wide range of betting options, including live same-game parlays, finding bets in the new Explore tab, and making a parlay in the Parlay Hub. Highly recommend. This is the best way to find these popular parlays. And, of course, many, many more. Maybe you're putting a little something on this UNC-NC State matchup here Wednesday night in PNC Arena. But regardless, get over to FanDuel and continue winning more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. All right, last couple minutes here of our Wednesday show. We'll be giving our final thoughts and a score prediction for the Dirty Foot Showdown tonight in PNC Arena. I do enjoy that the first time we see them is here in Raleigh because, not to put the cart ahead of the horse here, if you find a way to beat UNC in matchup number 1, it puts all the pressure in the world on them later in the season. Not to mention NC State would level up to a 4-0 record and stay atop of the ACC. Massive implications for NC State in this game. But Kenton, give me your final thoughts and then a score prediction.
I couldn't agree more. At the end of the day, this is about pride. This is about how bad do you want it? This is about executing. This is about when you look at this game, don't play names on the front of jerseys. Play the guys that are in front of you. Because at the end of the day, the legends are walking through that door for either side here. So the reality is this is a game that I think we have a really good shot at winning. And with that being said, I think that we do make this a track meet. I think it is very up and down, and I think NC State comes away with an 82-75 win.
It's no surprise to see UNC favored in this one. They're favored by 4.5. They've been playing some very good basketball, just being completely transparent here. They're number 7 in the country. They've earned that up until this point. They're very cohesive. They look much different than years past. It seems like maybe they're starting to buy in to whatever Hubert Davis is selling over there in Chapel Hill. But you've got to find a way to stop RJ Davis. You've got to find a way to rebound with the best of them. Baycott is going to get his boards, but if you can limit him with the trio of Diarra, Middlebrooks, and Burns, you give yourself a shot and you take away all those second chance opportunities that will kill you if you give them the opportunity to take those. So I have this weird feeling that it's going to be a red light night in Raleigh. I have NC State in a track by a score of 84-78. It's a close one, but I like us to steal it away late, and it will be a big-time win for the boys in red.
Hey, you know that you got to light it red anytime you – I don't care if it's who can blink the hardest contest. If we beat the Dirty Foot Club in it, light it red. That bell tower needs to be extremely red right away.
Even if I thought UNC was going to win this game, I still wouldn't pick them. You know I can't do that, but yeah. I genuinely have this feeling that NC State's going to find a way to knock them off on Wednesday night. But let us know in the comments. Let us know what you think is going to go down in PNC Wednesday night, 8 p.m., PNC Arena. Wolfpack Nation has got to show up for this one. It's no surprise. This is arguably the biggest basketball game of the year. And UNC fans, they call it our natty. They call it our Super Bowl. Whatever, man. We want to beat you. That's what this is. We do not like y'all. We want to beat you every single time we step on the court. That's why we're so loud about it. This would be a huge time win for the program, huge time win for the season going on here. We want this game. That's why we're so passionate about it.
And I'll give folks this, okay? At least I'm going to do my good deed. So hopefully I get a little bit of browning points with the big man upstairs. I'll give the boys in Baby Blue, the Dirty Foot Club, this. At least in men's basketball, they can say this is your Super Bowl because they have more accomplishments than us. Sure. I'll give you that. But in every other sport, including football, you're not allowed to say that, son. You're just not. Sorry to tell you. You do not have a whopping amount of success, especially recent success, to justify saying that. You don't.
Dirty Foot Club coming into PNC tonight. Check those shoes at the door, please. Be sure to hit that like button. Drop your comments in the comment box. Let us know how you think about this matchup. Let us know what you think about Daylan Hollywood Smothers officially joining the pack and what that means for the offense in 2024. And as always, mash that subscribe button. We'll have some comments all throughout the game on Wednesday night. Be sure to follow us on Twitter if you have not already. We will see you all tomorrow, hopefully celebrating a win. But until then, go Pack.
Go Pack.